With a name like Shadows Die Twice, I really thought I'd only die a couple times, but turns out... Yeah, this game is really hard, as I'm sure you've heard by this point. I mean, going in, I knew it would be tough considering Fromsoft's track record, but it's really just a whole nother level of hard compared to Dark Souls and Bloodborne. A huge factor of it is the learning curve. Most of us are coming from other Soulsborne games, and they work in a significantly different way combat-wise. Sekiro is all about blocking and parrying, whereas in Dark Souls it's a lot easier to dodge and strafe around your opponents. Even when it comes to death, things are harder. In Dark Souls, you lose all your souls when you die, but you have a chance to recover them. In Sekiro, you die, and guess what? You lose half your money and your experience. It's a pretty hard punishment, even with the second life mechanic that allows you to revive yourself if the given meter is fully charged, but considering how much you die, it's pretty easy to lose all your hard-earned experience and cash. Luckily, once you've gained enough experience to acquire a skill point, you can't lose those, so it's honestly not as bad as it may seem at first glance. Even with your money, it's pretty easy to farm in some of the early game areas to replenish your funds. They even have an unseen aid mechanic that decreases the amount of experience and money you lose when you die. But there's also a thing called Dragon Rot that takes away your unseen aid if you die too many times. There's just a lot in Sekiro that's not going your way. But I found a lot of these mechanics kind of refreshing compared to Dark Souls. If you die in Dark Souls, you have a stressful journey back to where your souls dropped and now they're guarded by whatever killed you in the first place. Everyone's been there, you're hoarding your souls for a big level up, you get killed, drop your souls, and on your way back to retrieve them, you fall off a cliff or something stupid. In Sekiro, you die, and that's that. You lose your money. Too bad for you. There's something about it that makes me want to take more risks, like I don't have to hoard my stuff because if I die, it's gone anyways, and death is inevitable, so why not experiment a bit? With most enemies, there's two ways to kill them, stealth or full-on combat. The stealth is super fun, if not a little broken at times, and it gives you way more leeway with how you want to approach any given area in the game. For example, this big bell-wielding dude was giving me a super hard time, so instead of fighting him head-on, I snuck around him and murdered him in cold blood. It's really up to you if you want to fight everyone head-on or if you want to try and sneak around and kill as many people stealthily as possible. Sekiro makes being a shinobi feel super awesome. There's a ton of controversy surrounding Sekiro currently, with people saying that there should be an easy mode built into the game, and on one side that makes sense. I mean, why not make your game as accessible to the widest audience possible? But on the other hand, that's just kind of missing the point. Fromsoft has always made their games hard, they're notorious for it, so why is it that now they've stepped it up and made things a little harder? Is everyone getting so butthurt about it? I figured I'd chime in with my 2 cents, and not everyone thinks this way, but video games are art. You can't just tell an artist to paint differently just because you don't like it, that's not how it works. Sekiro is the same way. They wanted this game to be difficult, and you can't tell them they're wrong. It's their art, and if you can't handle it, then that's just too bad for you, I guess. Go find another game to play. One of the best parts of games like these is finally overcoming that super hard boss, and yeah, it takes work and it's difficult, but that's why these games are so popular. We're so used to games handing us everything these days and holding our hands. Instead, Sekiro takes your hand away, and that's just fine with me. Difficulty, in my opinion, is a good thing as long as it's fair, and having a difficult game means spending more time with it in the long run. Like Kingdom Hearts 3, for example, was easy as balls and I beat it in 3 days. But Sekiro, after 3 days of playing, I think I maybe got to like the second boss. So it's gonna last me a really long time. I'm all about getting my money's worth out of games. I always say if I can get an hour out of it for every dollar I've spent, then it's worth it. And I've gotten far more enjoyment out of games like Dark Souls and Sekiro than I have with any other games in a long time. Except for maybe Monster Hunter World, but guess what? That's also a hard game. Bottom line is, not every game is for everyone, and if you're not willing to get good, for lack of a better term, then just pick another game. Adding an easy mode isn't the answer, and honestly is just a ridiculous request in the first place. Fromsoft doesn't need anyone backseat game developing. I think they've got things handled. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've made it this far, let's chat in the comments. What do you think about game difficulty? Should Sekiro have an easy mode? If you like this video, you know what to do, and if you want to see more from me, feel free to subscribe. See you next time.